Everybody can hear the audio okay? It's great now? All right. I just noticed that the recorder didn't start exactly, so I'll just mention verbally that I did go over the standard disclaimer, and nobody was against that, so we're going on with the webinar. I did turn up the volume. I'll go ahead and turn it up to 100%. That way it's a little louder. Okay, and of course they can turn up the volume on their own machine too. Okay, but I did go ahead and put this template on our website, so if anybody has any problems with that, be more than happy to help you get it put on. I like this particular template myself because I like to kind of get all the junk off the screen so I can kind of make a decision, and then I can draw some lines on the chart too, you know, where I think it'll hit its head, where I think it'll hit its head, you know, on pullbacks and things like that. You know, because it's pretty easy to do that. See, especially like when that's double right there. And then of course you can draw on your charts pretty nicely, can't you? And then of course you got a high up here. And of course you could have your charts ready to go. Okay. Now you can also change the size of these lines. I usually use 3 swings width pixels, whatever they call them, for my lines. I like a little bit bigger. Eyes aren't like they once were. Okay, but anyway, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you look at these power meters and that you're trading, you know, pretty much in the direction of that trend, unless you are scalping. Okay, let me get this out of the way for a second. We'll go ahead and draw lightning, see where we're at. Okay, so just judging by this chart right here, where do you think you could actually set up a nice little scalp and more than likely get a good bounce? Now this could be counter trend on one chart and also with the trend on another chart if you wanted to. I'm going to show you how to do that today, and you know, just keep in mind that you want to be really careful and always watching charts because sometimes they move around, you know, quick, and if you're watching TF and oil and trading YM or something like that, it can move pretty quick. So be very careful going against the trend. All right, but today I am going to show you some counter trend trades. And we'll probably miss a couple of them, I'm sure, because obviously we're going to go against the trend to get them. Okay? Because what I'm seeing right here, well, anyway, right this very moment, is pretty much a double top. You know, we would be boxing in like under here to possibly take our trade off the table. And could we actually scalp it, say down to here, if it did break? That would be a counter trend trade. And then you'd get another chart ready, obviously, for the move back up. Because anytime they break these support areas, you know, like this, they come back and as a rule they kiss them, or within a tick or two, or even within a tick or two, or even 5 down. You know, sometimes you got to kind of look at the particular swings and see where they're testing. You know, here's what we call a identified swing. See here, your high, your low, your higher high. That's the identified swing. This is your secondary identified swing. They usually don't take that one out, you know, even if they're trying to check this. So as a rule, you know, it'll more than likely bounce if it did that somewhere in here and still give you a higher high. Remember, we talk about when they break micro, they usually go down and check these medium swings. Okay, so micro you could consider even with this double top, and this is a little riskier, but it only, by the way, if they thrust. Now don't do this particular trade if they haven't thrusted up way above like another resistance area that they took out. In other words, if this was like this right here, I would not short that. You see what I mean? Because it hadn't really thrust up. Now when it thrusts up like this, let me see if I can get it to like that, then you can very possibly take this trade and then take the money off before it gets down here. Scalp it. And that's what I'm going to try to show today, is if you want to scalp. And by the way, even at the open, there's times where we box them in at the mid band, and those are against the trend, but it's at the open of the market too. And I showed that on Wednesday night where YM just basically went about 10 ticks below mid band and then shot up like a bird after that. And your best trade was your long trade, but you did have a scalp trade. Okay, and the way to do a scalp trade, in my personal opinion anyway, would be like this. Okay, you wouldn't want to, you know, for instance, if you were going to go long, say down here, which is what I'm looking at, by the way, there's a predictor. there's a swing. So if it hits down there, I would expect that to bounce, wouldn't you? But in the meantime, could I also short this if I wanted to? Now, if I do this, I'm not going to wait for the close of a bar. I would actually box this in after a double top like this, right across here. I would probably only go for like 5 ticks. I would do it on a touch, maybe +1 even, something like that. And since we're going counter trend, we're not going, with a breakout. We're waiting on a pullback for that. And then on this one here, I would do this. Get it down here on top of my predictor. That one I would be going long like that. And then I'd set that and I'd set that. And then by doing that, all I'm going to do is scalp this one for a few ticks. Matter of fact, if I was on a $10 chart instead, I chose YM today because I didn't trade it at all yesterday. And it did quite well, but our TF did marvelous. So I'm going to do YM today since we didn't do it. And we'll just try to get down to here, and then we'll try to bounce off of here. Okay, and let's see if that actually works. 5 ticks for basically a counter trend, and then we're going to go with, say, you could go with even, say, 4 contracts. That should be fine. That's like 2 contracts with oil. Okay, and then we'll try to bounce off this little swing right here. Okay, counter trend with the trend. Let's see, on your long chart, you have long at top of the box activated. Let me look. That's true. Let's go for the retrace only. Thank you. Okay, and by the way, they give you plenty of time on this, because from here to even over here, that's like almost 40 minutes. So they're giving you plenty of time on this to get things set up. It's not like this is like a 1-minute deal. All right, so let's just see if we can get this trade. And we'll just simply try to get a counter trend, and one of them may not work out. We'll find out. Now the predictor is that safe trade that we talked about last Wednesday and even the Wednesday before. This last Wednesday we talked more about the KISS trade. Okay, and a lot of times those predictors are going to be KISS trades because the predictor predicts where it's going to hit its head swing-wise. Okay. Now, I probably picked a really crummy time of night, like I sometimes do when I start these, but we're going to just simply try to get, that would be 25 times 5. That would only be $125 on this side. Okay, what is the difference between the 2 charts? The difference in the 2 charts, Chai, on your question, what I'm talking about this morning is actually trying to basically go against the trend. Okay, I'm going to go against the trend to do some scalpy type trades, and then I'm going to go with the trend to do, my runner type trades. Okay, so right now we've got a little scalper going right there. It did double top. It was actually a little lower even. You kind of watch for that a lot of times. And when they break micro, a lot of times they will go down and check medium. Okay, and you always look to the left to trade the right. And you see that they thrust up, they pull back, they thrust up again. So they should pull back right into this area right here. And our predictor says 90 and our swing says 88. Okay, so we're not in this trade yet. We're down 25. See, that's 1 tick is all that is. So, well, now we're up 25. Now we're 0. Now we're up 25. Down. See, we're just waiting on the bar. I'll go ahead and speed it up a little bit. Maybe I don't have to, but I will. We'll go a little quicker. Because when they hit those tops and everything, as a rule, they do retrace. Now, you're not going to want to do this counter trend trade again until it does its thing and bounces and thrusts back. We're only going to want to do a thrust type trade. In other words, if this trade works out, we're going to wait for it to go and thrust through that top and pull back and pretty much kiss into that area. Okay, now we're down 50 bucks. There we go, we just got our target. Why did you not take the short at the double top? Well, you could, Chai. What I'm trying to show right here is that when we walked in the room, it was already doing this. Okay, so you know, yes, you could have taken the double top, but what I was trying to show is that you can also box it in for a quick trade, because you don't always know that's a double top. When this does this right here, for instance, and that bar goes up and that bar goes down, when would you short the thing? Because what if it made a higher low here and then just popped right up through and checked that predictor? But if it takes out what I call lightning, you know, you have a high, a low, a little lower high, and when it takes out that lightning right there, see, we got a nice little trade. We forgot to move our targets. That you can take these for these quick trades. Now, to me, just trying to take a double top, unless it's at a really good like resistance area or something, is pretty risky to do. Okay, because you don't know it's a double top until it actually proves itself it's a double top. Okay, now notice that the trades actually worked out though. Okay, this trade worked out and that trade worked out. Now I'm going to slow this down a little bit because we're going like 100 times speed on this right now. Okay, now again, we've got lightning right here. See it right here? See your thrust, retrace thrust? So that's a lightning swing, right? A low, a high, a higher low, higher high. That's my lightning swing right across here. And that did close below it, but since we didn't catch it, we'll catch it if it closes below it again. We'll do another scalp trade. And then on this one here, let's look and see where they're going to pull back to, okay? Let's look at it. Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. Okay, it's got to pull back at least to here. That'd be 309, right? And then it broke out right across here. Beautiful ellipse, by the way. And I'd put a line like right, let's see, it hasn't checked here. And a lot of times they'll check one lower than that. So I'm going to put between here and here for this trade. All right, so let's see if we can set up. Everybody see why I'm doing this? They have not checked this except this one little blip up and right here. And a lot of times they will check that. Okay? And of course we can also wait and even box it in. But what I'm going to try to do today is show you some decent little scalps too. I'm going to do a bar close to the downside with 5 ticks on this side. And I'm going to do this little trade here if it comes down to mid-band. And we'll see what we can get. Long again. This one, we don't want to do a bar close now. We want to go below that line. Okay? I'll turn it on when it gets near there. If it does. Everybody see why on that? That's lightning. That's a scalp trade. See how my lightning meters are short? Doesn't look like it'd be short, does it? But 1 and 2 are short. That's a little late because I wanted it right there on that line. That's all right, though. We'll take it. We'll just see if we can get 125 more. Okay, let's look at this little trade here. It's got to come down to at least 309. It hasn't checked 306. Mid-band's good also. And the predictor, we want to watch the predictor too. Let's see if we can get us a little trade on this one too. There we're in on our counter trend. Now keep in mind, until I get this 5 ticks, I'm not really going to move this stop, which could cost me, you know, a little bit more money, right? Because 12 times 5 is 60, times 5 is $300. But until it makes that lightning swing by taking this out right here, I can't put my stop there. Everybody see why? High, low, lower high, not a lower low yet. So that's not my lightning swing as of yet. But this was my lightning swing on the left-hand side. Everybody see it? High, low, higher high, makes that your low. And it looks like we're going to get another trade that's going to work, maybe, but I can't move my stop just yet. Got a tick. Remember, as soon as it closes below this right here, my stop's going to go right there. Just like that, but not yet. See if we can get it to close. Closed on it. See what I'm talking about? Why that's not an identified swing yet? See, they're wicking it. If they close it, we'll be okay. And they'll probably hit our target anyway. And like I say, on this side, we could actually move our target if we wanted to. I'm just trying to show you little 5-tick trades if we can get them. That's close. That's good enough. That did close. Put my stop right there, exit on close. See, so I'm risking 8 ticks times 5 contracts, which is still pretty decent risk, right? Because I'm only trying to make 125. But if I'm going to do this, I've got to stick with Lightning. There's really no other way than to use the zigzag approach to where your stop's got to be. Because if the micro trend is heading down, then you've got to have identified swings. And this is the identified swing. You can see if you draw it. See if I can draw it. It's not even drawing yet, so we'll see. Draw it. Yeah, there we go. All right. See your identified swing right there. Okay. We got this one set for touch +2 down here right about mid-band. Let's look and see what our fib number is on this also, just real quick. It's going to go at least to 38%. And there's your 50. So I'm going to move my box to 38. Matter of fact, that's probably it. There's 38 right there. And then we'll turn it back on. Now also, you can clearly tell that you can box these little areas in with Lightning. Now you got to get Lightning forming first, right? This is a little consolidation patch, but this is dangerous to box because you haven't taken out the low yet. Now there you go. Once you take out that low, you could actually just simply buy that trade. You don't want to take out this swing right here. That's a good area to bounce, by the way. I'd probably jump in that one on this side. See it right there? Support. And since that's not against the trend, we're going to try to go up to the top. Okay? This one here, that was our 38. There's 50%. It came almost to 50%, didn't it? There you go. You're in your trade. All right, we're going to get one target out of the way because this is our runner side too. And I'm going to turn off the box because we don't need it anymore. And then what you want to do, once you're in the trade, you want to go ahead and move your targets to where the swings are. Okay, so I see one swing right there. I see another swing right there. See it? Lightning. Then I see another one right across here. And actually, if you got one really close to the top, just go ahead and do the top like that, and then let your runner run. Okay? And then you put your stop just under. Yeah, that's good enough. Just under there. Everybody see why? Because that's support. Now this side right here, by the way, you go ahead and move your stop up as soon as that closes above that swing. I hadn't done it yet, so I'm going to lag it back just a little bit, just at cost. As soon as it closes, we'll take it. Can we do both buy and sell at the same time on two different charts? Yes. That's the beauty of a strategy, Chai, is that you can actually be short on one chart and long on another one. Okay? I'm going to show you how to do that. That's what we're talking about today. For instance, if this was to take out this line right here, That's your lightning swing. Okay. Now your lightning swing, not quite here yet, but it's getting close. See if we can get one. And we'll just keep moving this line if it lets us move it. Now keep in mind, I'm going to go ahead and close this trade out because we're going to do a counter trend. Let's see if we can do a counter trend. Let it make a lightning swing first. We're still long on the one chart. Come on, close above the swing. There we go. All right, bring your sniper right here. See your sniper? I'm not caring about this one because I'm not taking a trade up here at all. Short, I'm going to get it way out of the way so we don't accidentally take that one. And then hit enter and get it up there. All right, this one we're going to simply scalp if we get a lightning swing broken. This one we're going to simply stay with our trade, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to here on my stop simply because I don't like these break-even triggers. I like runners. Now you could go ahead and put it below your swing, but your lightning swing is like right here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Now it's right here. See if we can get one. We'll do touch plus one. Little consolidation double top there. There we go. We got our counter trend trade. Stop's got to be above the swing. Like that. And it looks like this side may even stop us out because if we get our target here, we're going to get stopped out on our runner. And we've got two left on, so obviously it's going to cost us that little bit right there on two contracts. Looks like we're going into a little bit of chop now. So we're short on this side. We're long on this one with our stop under lightning. And if we get a predictor, we're going to trade it again. So short on this side, making up for these two, because that's 5. Yeah, you could actually do this, by the way, but you got to have 2 charts. And you got to be watching them and see what's going on. You could also see that, you can get bit too, because your actual lightning swing right this very moment is right here. What I did is took a little consolidation double top. Are we going to head up? Maybe. Maybe not. If it closes above this little wick right here, our lightning swing will be right here, just a little higher, not much. That's good enough. Nice and tight. We're not making money on our left-hand side, but we got our stop in. We don't have far to go, 5 ticks. Let's see, I was under the impression that you can not be long and short at the same time on one account. Well, the way it will show up, basically almost like your flat, so to speak, Pervez, but strategies have different identifiers on them. So yes, you can be long and short at the same time. I highly recommend being on 2 separate accounts. All you got to do is call your broker and throw a few $1,000s into a separate account, just a sub account. That's the way I personally like to do it, because that way you're not confused at all at any time. You've got an actual separate account. Like I've got an account for Russell, I've got an account for oil, and I've even got an account for YM. That way I've got 3 separate accounts that I can throw those trades on, and I don't have to worry about, some of this stuff going on. Okay, now we're feeling a little bit of heat on this one right here. Our lightning swing is right under here now. See it? Getting ready to close above. Okay, that's our lightning swing. Just like that. And will it get us? Well, if it does, it'll cost us $125. Actually, a little bit more because we're waiting on exit on close. See, it just checked the top is all it did. So far anyway. Our stop's right under here on lightning. Looks like it's going to get us. But if it gets us, this one's going to tag, right? More than likely. So we're going to be flat. Looks like in just a second or so on this one, as soon as that bar closes, you'll be flat. It's going to get us. But 2 contracts, 5 contracts. Got our $125 too. See there how that can work? Now we're looking for another trade, right? Let's look and see where we should go. That's a higher low, by the way, than that. See it? High, low, higher, high. So this low is higher. So we're still expecting an up move. There's a predictor. Touch +2, and we'll take the predictor. Now remember, we're not going to go counter trend again until we either break down, and then we'll go counter trend against the breakdown, or we'll go only if it breaks to the upside and gives us a nice pop. But so far it's still an uptrend. See power meter 3 and 4, green. Okay, we just got us a trade. And what I like to do right off the bat is you want to move your first contract first. You know, that way you don't get 5 ticks really quickly. I like to move it just out of the way, and then I can move my other one way out of the way. I can move this one to the top. I can move this one to this swing, like right across here. And when a predictor shows up, I'll move it there. And we'll just see what we get. Feeling a little bit of heat on that one right now. Can we take long if power meters 3 and 4 are green? Well, Chai, on your question, what I'm trying to show today in this webinar specifically for this, I've had several people ask me, you know, if I could do like a counter trend type of webinar even. Okay, so we could see if we could do some counter trend trading. Now I can tell you this, that by looking at this chart right here, and we do this in real time in that room too, you see where your swing is? High, low, higher, high. Okay, that power meter is green. Now if it takes this out, you're going to get a red power meter. Okay, but right now you don't have that. See, they're trying to kiss. Our stop's just under. We've got 12 tick stop, 4 contracts. That's 20 times 12, $240, right? And it looks like we're going to be okay. It bounced right off the support. At least so far, we're going to be okay. Now this was within 30 minutes of non-farm payroll right here, so we probably won't be able to trade again until non-farm payroll is over. And then we'll do that after that, and we'll try another counter trend trade too. Does everybody see how you can see on these charts though, you know, where the trades, I mean, we put these predictors on here so that you can tell. You also have to diagnose it in your mind. You know, well, the power meter is going to help you with that. But the reason the power meter is green right here is because if you look and you drew lightning 3, high, low, higher high, higher low. See it right there? Just barely higher. That's all it takes. Anything higher is still an uptrend. Everybody see that? Why is chart P&L 350? Well, this particular chart is, but the other charts also. keep in mind that's the particular chart you're trading. So that's why that's showing like that. Wow, look at that. Nice little trade. Now, what did we talk about? Well, we've got to now make a thrust before we take any counter trend trades. Okay? And looks to me like we're going to have to get past non-farm payroll too. See non-farm payroll right here? Now, if you're in non-farm payroll, what I'd highly recommend would be to take off exit on close, put you a nice tight stop. See what I mean? Non-farm payroll just hit. Now, it was a little too tight, and I missed some of this, but that's also okay. This is your 7:30 non-farm payroll. We'll turn predictor off for just a minute. Okay. Now, that's that first 30 minutes, or pardon me, that first minute there. So you're not trading right now, right? But I will trade if they take out our top and do a counter trend. Let's see if we can get a counter trend. And I'm also going to do a, let's go ahead and turn predictor back on. Yeah, I'm going to do another trade right here. And you could even box it in right across here. See if we can get that one. It came down to my ellipse. I wanted it right. Yeah, I'm going to take it. See it hitting that ellipse right there. We'll get one target out of the way, one target up higher, one target there, and one target right across that area right there. Just so we can see if we can get something here. Now keep in mind, if you're not a counter trend trader, and for goodness sakes, don't go trying to counter trend and load the boat and just walk away from the chart. All you want to do is scalp it. Because if you're against the trend, what if that happened? See what I mean? And they can do that. I've seen oil for, just all of a sudden it's with the trend and boom, it just shoots up 40 ticks. So you want to be really careful with that. Okay, let's see. Did we take out the top? We actually did. See, we took out lightning, double topped it. I'm going to just try to scalp 5. Everybody see what I'm doing right here? I simply shorted that lightning swing. I did it manually rather than boxing it in. And all I want is 5 ticks. Now, truthfully, I can tell you where it's going to come. It more than likely is going to come down to right in through here. Everybody see why? Because that's where it broke out. And if you want to, on a counter trend like this, you could take a chance at this, okay? Because that's where it broke out. And more than likely, with straight bars up like that, it's going to get us. So see, that way we got it. We just got us another little trade. Okay? And then you're still in your trade. Now, I would put my stop still under here because see, that's straight up. That's your swing. Exit on close with my 2 contracts. Because when they don't have a swing for you to look at, they really need to bounce right in through here. I'm going to draw a line. They should bounce here, or they're going to have to bounce here. And if, now here's another thing you want to look at too. If this is going to be a higher low, see your high, your low, your little bit higher high, you really don't want to take this out. Everybody see why? Because again, you would have a higher low if they're going to head up. Now we don't know if they're going to head up at this moment anyway, right? But we've got a high here, a low here, and a little higher high here. So I would expect that it would not take out this swing right here. So I'm going to trust it with my stop. Because otherwise, guess what? It's not really heading up. Now you could lag it just a couple of ticks if you want, because obviously if it's going to hold it, it should hold that swing right there. Because that's a high, a low, a higher high. And that was after a monster shoot up too. Notice how we counter trended that on the other chart real easily and still staying long on this chart. How do you emotionally handle a 30-tick pullback, do you think? Well, Nasir, on your question, that was pretty quick because it was right after the non-farm payroll. But I do trust Lightning on my runner because Lightning is really good. Now, of course, if we were not watching this other one over here, we would have probably pulled this out when it did this. 1, 2, 3. And basically when it broke this area right here with a close like there, we could have gotten out. But see, another thing too, and I've mentioned this a lot of times in webinars, when they do this shot up like crazy like this, where there's just bar after bar after bar, and there's no swings, you pretty much have to trust the medium swing. Now, what you would probably have done would have been taken off all but one. That's what I probably would have done. Now, by the way, where do you think that you could probably get in this trade if you weren't in it already? Well, you probably just missed it, so I wouldn't be going and chasing it. And by the way, this hasn't done what we call an ABC. So you got an A, a B, and we need a C that's just a little bit lower than this right here. At least to here or a tick or two lower. A, B. See if we can get that. And that's one thing, you know, Nasir, on your question, we've actually traded Lightning before in the room. You remember when gold was running like crazy? There were like 30 tick, 35 tick pullbacks, but Lightning held those swings. And we got that monster like 250 tick run that one day, remember, in the room. And I even talked about how the Lightning was what was keeping you in that trade because they were just huge thrusts, you know, pullbacks, and they were real methodical stepping. But by the way, you don't have to be still in this trade. Now, to me, if you want to do a runner and you got in, let's say right down in through here, that's not giving up that much because I'm trying to just get a runner because it's non-farm payroll day. So I'm not that much against that as long as it holds the Lightning. Otherwise, you've just got to trade in and out of it. Say, for instance, what you'd do is you'd go ahead and close it, okay, and let's look for a predictor, and let's trade it again. I'm going to get rid of all the lines. And we'll get rid of the dots, too. Bet you it bounces right there. The reason is because they've already checked here. They're going to check here. Fingers on the buy button. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. Bounce right off my line. Everybody see why I bought that? Now, it doesn't mean that it's not going to take me out, but high, low, little higher high. This has to hold. They've already checked it. They just checked here, which was another Lightning 3 swing. So this should more than likely hold. Let's just see if it does. And by the way, if you were only in, let's say you were only in maybe, you know, checking it with like one contract. Well, you could always get ready to buy it when it breaks these little consolidation patches. It's good enough for me. See it break above that. You don't have to wait for a bar to close. You can always just, you know, if it tries to tag a little box that you're making, you can always get in a little bit quicker. Now, what do we talk about a thrust again? We're going to go counter trend only if it takes out this high, right? And breaks our Lightning. We'll see if we can get that. But it's got to break Lightning or we're not going to take a counter trend. Let me show you real quick how I diagnosed that in real time, because I know a lot of people have seen us do this in real time in the room, because you've got to look to the left to trade the right. And I'm going to get these predictors off the chart even, and I want to show you what they do. All right, first off, this was a huge shotgun after that great news came in, right? All right, so they make a low, and I'm going to go ahead and kill this trade. We don't care about the trade. Okay, they made a low right here with your 15 swing strength, right? So what do? Right at 7:30, they take it out a little bit, right? Okay, so what do you think they're really going to do? Well, they're going to try to break up, okay? They're going to, at one time, they're going to come and they're going to kiss this area right here, right? And they're going to kiss this area. And if you took your chart to this one right here and get rid of all this lightning, we don't need it right now. See what they're doing right here? What are they actually doing right here? You draw your lines. You got 36, you got 33, and see that come right down to check that. High over here a little higher. That's not my favorite one, but if it does do, you know, a few ticks above, that's still what we call ratcheting up, and your trade would be somewhere in this little box right here, like so. And then you just go to the chart and see it. I'll go ahead and just change template. We'll leave the box on there. See the little box? Right on it. It's amazing how they check those continually. And by the way, if you get shotguns like oil and things like that, you're going to get a lot of these predictors, because what this predictor is doing here is it's doing all this calculation of this price movement. So it drew several up here. Okay? That doesn't bother me too much, because after that it starts settling down to begin with. Okay? And even if they don't get down to a predictor, you still got to see these swings that they've made, because in real time these swing strengths that our numbers draw on are pretty accurate. Okay? And so you've got you a good little trade going right here. Right? Now, as far as that goes, if you wanted to, you know, this is a little gutsier trade right here. Well, it's too late now, but it just broke that swing. Okay? You can wait for a little consolidation patch and buy it. Let's see if we can get one. It's got to consolidate first. If it takes out 63, I don't care. I want it to consolidate a little bit first, and then we'll buy it. There's taking out 63. Let's see if we can get a consolidation patch. Let's see, one question coming in. Can we take buy and sell at numbered swings? Well, Chai, on your question, what you really want to do is you want to look at those numbered swings, and yes, they're very good, but keep in mind they're going to miss them by a couple of ticks. Because the old rule of thumb of higher highs and higher lows is very important for a trend. And you'll notice when they do that, that they'll respect. See where we had this high over here, a low here, and a high here? Notice when this came down with this deep retracement trade, that low was never taken out. See it? It just came down and tried to kiss it. So what I usually do in a case like that is I've got my buy sitting down here within like 2 or 3 ticks, because as a rule you're going to get it. And you can always take it on the little consolidation patch, but you've got to put your stop underneath the swing. Let's see if we can get one. We've got to thrust up. Let's see if we can get a little consolidation patch. You want to be real careful taking breakout trades, especially big breakout trades like this. Now these little bitty consolidation trades are okay, and I'll show you if I see it setting up in real time. I don't want to do a breakout trade. That's too much. I'd love for it to come back down to here. It won't necessarily. Now there's a little swing area. Hope it goes lower. I'm going to go ahead and buy that. See that little consolidation patch right there? I'm not trying to get this breakout right here. I just want to get this little break above this right here. And I took it a little early because of the way they popped that candle. Everybody see why I did that? Let's see if we can take out this little swing area here. That's what you always want to wait for on any kind of a thrust, is you got to have a little consolidation. I know Charles has taught that for years and years and years, of those consolidation patches. You got to have one. Now see, I took that one a little early. We may get bit, but I'm going to go ahead and trust it at least down to that swing with the close of the bar. And if it pops above my blue line, then I'm okay. And more than likely I could even add, but with 4 contracts you might not want to. But if it does pop it, you certainly could, because that's a lightning swing. See there? Trying to break it. That's 8. That's a little risky, but anyway, 8 times, that's 4 contracts basically on oil, if you were on oil. Now as soon as it closes above, where is our stop? I love lightning stops. Just right under that swing. Get your targets out of the way. Look to the left to trade the right. Nothing there, is there? Nothing for a long time. There we go. We got something, but we're already higher than that, so it doesn't matter. So we're good to go. We just move our targets out of the way. And then ride your lightning. Everybody see how you can do this? And by the way, if we get a lightning break, let's go ahead and short it on another chart and just see if it works out. Go ahead and short it on this chart here. Well, we're long on this one, so we need to short it on this one here. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's get this back where it needs to be. Hopefully I can catch it. I'm going to do a lightning swing if it breaks it. What a monster move, huh? Now watch power meter. Now keep in mind, you're long as you can be on this other chart, right? But as soon as power meter goes red, I'm going to short this, because that's going to mean that it's actually breaking a lightning swing. And keep in mind, until it actually makes a little zigzag, your lightning swings all the way under here, so I doubt if we're going to get that for a bit. But if this comes down a little bit, pops back up, comes down a little bit, it'll make that change. There's your little down. Let's see if we can get a power meter red. Now I'm probably going to take it anyway, but let's just take it with 2 if it closes below that swing. It's a double top. Not yet. There we go. Power meter's red. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more. Now, is that a risky trade? Well, let's see. Power meter went red. For it to go green again, it would have to take out this swing right here. So I could put my stop there, but you know, a lot of times they'll just nick you. So you might put it a couple of ticks above it, save yourself a little bit. We're just trying to get those 5 ticks. Actually, truthfully though, I would assume that they'll go down deeper than 5 ticks, because you know why, right? Looking to the left to trade the right, they should at least come down to close to this area here, and there's a predictor. We're going to try to get 9 ticks. Now your second power meter just went red. Now I could take this trade off the table too, right? But I don't have to, because we're still in the long trend, and you've got a swing right here You got a predictor right there, and they should bounce. Should you get out of the long? See, Pervez, on your question, not necessarily. Now, with 8 contracts, obviously, you would want to get rid of some, obviously, right? When that power meter went red, you probably should have dumped at least 4. We'll take a chance with it, just simply because we didn't get it out right here on that lightning. But let's see what it does. Let's just see what it does. I don't want it to go below 69. That's a lot of contracts, by the way. You probably don't want to do that many. That's 40. Let's see, if you had, 10 ticks, that's obviously $400, right? Hopefully this will pop back up and we'll have our lightning back on. Almost got our target on the short side. See, this did do a lightning. You notice this. See, thrust, retrace, took that out right across there, which closed the bar. So you could have gotten out right there on that bar. Since we didn't, I'm going to hope that it goes ahead and pops back up above that line. And that's one of the things you're going to run into if you do 2 charts. Be careful with multiple contracts. Like I was doing in the room the other day, you want to go ahead and protect that coin with that many contracts. I'm going to go ahead and take 4 off if this doesn't take out that line. Took out the line. We're still okay. I'm going to take 4 off if it takes the line back out again. Now see, we got a little bit greedy on our short, and that's probably not going to work out. That's why I like those 5 tickers. As soon as that power meter turns red, Pervez, what that's actually doing is that's telling you that that micro swing is broken. Now notice that I would have gotten 5 ticks on that trade, but it looks like we're going to get stopped out. See, that's why if you go counter trend, I highly recommend just going for 5 or 6 ticks. So if this actually turns around again, we're going to probably have to get out of it because that's really testing to try to break back out. And you're long on this chart. We'll go ahead and put my stop just underneath the swing. It's not identified just yet though. See, not every one of these is going to work out. That's why if you do counter trend trades, see, we're going to lose 9 times 5, 45 times 2 contracts, or 4 contracts, pardon me. So 4 contracts times 9 ticks times 5, $180. Tighten my stop a little bit, simply because they double topped again. I'm going to take these 8 contracts. I'm going to at least get rid of 4 of them if they even touch below that line. Didn't do it yet. Still didn't do it. They're going to do it, looks like. Well, they just touched it, doggone. That's all right. So we're still short on this side. They did not take us out. They did take us out of our other one. No big deal. Everybody see how you can do that, by the way? It's just a pretty good way to trade. Now keep in mind, we just lost on that last one. But if we had left that at 5 ticks, we would have made it. Okay? So now what are you doing? Well, you're looking, you just got another one. See where it broke? I've got this going way too fast though, so I'll slow it down. We already missed that one. That would have been a good 5 ticker. That's an ellipse trade. See it? Just busted 1, 2, 3. And you can always wait for this to go green, but keep in mind that once it breaks, this will take a little bit for it to go green because it's got to form that lightning swing again. Everybody see that? Can you explain again the 1, 2, 3 bar? 1, 2, 3 bars? Nasir, on your question there, basically you're just talking about this is a little more aggressive trade, but let's say, for instance, that you come down to an ellipse like this, and you're looking at it in real time. I just look at this where you basically can show 3 bars, and you just put your buy above the bar that would make the 3rd bar, and it pretty much happened right there. See, and then they'll test that little swing. You know, amazingly, just like I've said for years, you've got 4 trends on your charts, and they respect every one of them until they don't. And by what I mean by that is that once they break the micro trend, they're going to then check that next trend. Then they're going to check the next trend. And, you know, when they can finally break that lightning 3, obviously you're changing trends. What does everybody think about this type of trading? Now, try it in sim just a little bit and see what you think. And you don't have to be as aggressive as that if you don't want to be. But it's amazing, you know, some of these retracements would literally, you know, just pepper your account with coin. Okay? But again, you've got to watch it. You don't want to be, you know, short 4 contracts and long 8 and let it retrace 30 ticks. You want to be, say, 2 on those deeper retracements, because your chart is going to always show the trend as it's heading. And matter of fact, let's go ahead and just kick this up, and we're almost through it. I'm going to go to 500 times normal speed, and let's just get some run here. Remember this Friday? Remember this? I just closed out, but we don't care about that. I just want to show you how these swings go until they quit going. And we'll just draw them with lightning. High, low, higher high, right? Higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And just keep on trucking. And that went for a long time, by the way. I forget what YM did, but it was awesome. And just watch and see if you couldn't stay in some of these trades, even with like 1 or so contracts. See if we get a number here. Should show up. There it is. You could even put your stop there. See what I mean? But you're going to have to let some pullbacks happen. But keep in mind that, you know, when it's doing this type of trading and everything, you're kind of looking at this midband too. You know, we look at this midband all the time when we're trading, and watch and see what just doesn't happen in real time, and see if you couldn't actually stay in a trade with like a contract. But that you could also counter trend this pretty easily, couldn't you? Because this is the trend that you're looking at here, but you've got another trend over here on your chart that's your tiny micro, and that's what you'd be shorting, would be your micro lightning. Everybody see that? I think this is already at the end of the day. It's the end of my data anyway. See, so we can't go any further. All right, let's see. So can you have 3 in the direction of a trend and short 2 on micro? Absolutely. You can do, the one thing about trading, Pervez, on your question, you know, sometimes people will say to a person, well, you know, why are you short? Well, they might be short because they're trading a micro trend, and somebody else is trading a little bit more of a trend, and they're staying long. And yeah, you can trade it definitely both ways. Now, like I said, what I recommend doing on scalping like that, though, make sure that you've thrust up on a short and that you've thrust down on a long. In other words, don't just get into a sideways like this. Let's say that you had seen non-farm payroll and you saw this happen like this right here. So you know this is your high, right? Because you're down in this area right now, okay? You don't want to box this little area in like this and then short it and go, wow, you know, I just got me a short. Yeah, you got 4 ticks, and then off she went. No, what you got to do is you got to wait for it to thrust up. See it thrust up above, pull back, you box it in, you get your trade. Thrust up again, right? You box it in, you never got a trade. See what I mean? And then right in through here, when it had thrust up like this, you could actually box it in right under here, and you might have gotten 5 ticks. See, there's traders all over. We had one trader that actually would short these phantoms if they had made a thrust up like that. And you'd miss on some of them. And you don't want to have a really loose stop when you do it that way. Okay? And use trend lines, use boxes, you know, and if you don't want to trade this particular way, don't. Your safest way to trade is obviously watching these swings that Object Trader, not Object Trader, but where'd it go? Oh, I've got it. We'll change it. I'll go back to the webinar. And look at your chart kind of bare, because it'll really show you where things are going, doesn't it? See that? And that's basically the end of the day, isn't it? Because it hadn't even made another. So where's your medium swing on this chart right now? It's at what, 29? Yeah, it's at 29. It hasn't made any more. So what would it take to change the trends on this chart? It would take this right here. Little break, little pullback, and a little rollover. But it hadn't done that, has it? That's a high, low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We don't know if it's a higher high without drawing lightning. It is. See it? Took it out. So that's your low. It's really that easy to look at on these charts, and you'll know when they start breaking down, and you can take the other direction. Let's see, when you box a trade in, how do you protect against a fake out of the box? Well, Dave, what I'm talking about is really watching the lightning. I don't just box in, because the whole thing is, if you're going against the lightning micro swings, then you're really counter trending then. But if you go with the actual lightning swings, you know, and put this little formula in your head right here, you know, when you get, say, for instance, a little thrust down, a little pullback, where's your swing on this right here? It's not there yet, right? It's only there when it breaks it with the close of a bar. That would be the area that you'd want to do. Now, what if it had done this instead and came like that, and then went like this, and you had boxed it like in here somewhere, and it never made the lightning swing? So you got to get that lightning swing broken. Okay? See, like that's even breaking a lightning swing if that high was taken out, which it was not. So this would be only if this was taken out now, which is right here, like so. Okay? In other words, you got to zigzag down for a short, and you got to zigzag up for a long. And that's why we added the power meter, because it's a great tool that'll show you where the trade's. Okay. Let's see. So will AMP open another account if it's a fund? Pervez, you'd have to ask them. I would think so. They just do what they call sub-accounts. You're trading your actual account, but you can have sub-accounts underneath it. You can even open up separate accounts if you want. Like MB Trading, to give an example, they've got it where you can actually just do sub-accounts. You know, put a couple of $1,000s in this one, couple of thousand in this one, you know, have your big account, you know, in your main account, and then you've got your separate sub-accounts. All right, did this help anybody today? We only lost on one, and why did we lose on that one? Because we got greedy and we tried to get down to an actual swing, and it didn't go there, did it? But you'll find that if you can short these for these quick little pops, you'd be kind of amazed. On oil, to give an example, 5 ticks is $50. 3 contracts is $150. So if you could 150 your way to, you know, to Tahiti, as we say, right? Okay, hope you learned something. Thanks very much for coming, and I'll have this posted in a little bit. And Ed, on your question, give me about, say, 5-10 minutes tops, and we'll meet up on TeamViewer, and I'll get those scripts on for you. All right, thanks, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you on Monday. And remember, these trades were called live in the room on Friday, and we didn't go against the trend like I did today. But you will notice that you did make some money going against the trend, too. Okay, thanks, everyone.